Today, we have a Mech Infiltrator guide. What's up, I'm Bunny Muffins. I was a 2-time Challenger player. Mech Infiltrator is a staple as a top tier composition for most of Set 3. Most importantly, it is easy to play, but it can be tricky if there are multiple people playing it in your game. Right now, the top 3 players in North America are all Mech Infiltrator 1-tricks, so since it seems like that this composition will persist for the rest of the set, let's dig in to learn how to play this comp. The core build is reached at 6 units. You have 4 Infiltrator and 3 Mech pilots. The Mech acts as a giant tank, and his items are the most important in this composition. You'll definitely want to prioritize Bramble Vest, followed by Quicksilver, followed by Titan's Resolve. The primary carry of the composition is Kaisa. Her best item by far is the Demolitionist Spatula. This item improves your win rate by around 10 to 15%, which is quite astronomical. After that, add ability power or mana items, or defensive items such as Morellonomicon, Seraph's Embrace, Quicksilver, or Trapclaw. The third person you itemize would be Shaco. He loves any sword item, but he generally gets your leftover items. My favorite build on him is Triple Infinity Edge, but Guardian Angel, Bloodthirster, Zeke's Herald, and Last Whisper also work. Thieves' Gloves is also a pretty interesting use for him in this composition as well. Now onto positioning, we definitely want to keep Kaisa in the center back row, especially if she has Demolitionist Spatula. This is because you want her to hit as many units as possible, and when she has this item, she stuns all of them, so keeping her in the center hits both carries on both sides of the map. Next, you'll want to position Shaco to jump to the enemy carries. For example, if a lot of carries are on the top right, you want to put him on the bottom right. If there are a lot of carries on the top left, you want to put him on the bottom left. Lastly, you'll want to keep your mech in front of enemy teams. If there's a rebel player grouped up on the top left here, you'll just simply switch your mechs over to this side so that they perform a huge area of effect attack on that team. Lastly, you'll want to watch out for Zephyrs if you don't have a Quicksilver sash on your mech. One fun positioning you could use is move all your mechs in the back like this and put Kha'Zix in the front. That way, if anyone has a frontline Zephyr, your Kha'Zix gets Zephyred instead and your mech can still be fighting from the start of the game. Next, let's go into what galaxies this composition is good in. The composition is best in the medium legends. It's decent in Lilac Nebula because you could grab a Fizz early and then hold on to him and then sell him later. And it's also good in the Trade Sector Galaxy. Trevor Trove is also decent because you get a lot of extra gold from that map. However, the items are a little unnecessary since you only really need items on Rumble and Kaisa. Mech is weakest on the normal galaxy, so if this is the first time you're going this composition, I'd recommend trying it on one of the special maps. After we know what maps this is good on, let's go into when you want to try to go this composition. You'll want to try to go this composition if you have a few mechs and infiltrators at the beginning of stage 2. After that, you'll need to fulfill one of these 2 conditions. First is if no one else is going the composition. If that is the case, then you're free to go mech. The other is if one other person's going for the composition, but you have great items on your team. For example, if I start the game off with a Bramble Vest or a Quicksilver Sash, or the Demolitionist Spatula, I'm going to be able to outlive the other mech player because I have perfect items. Now that we know what the composition is, let's get into how to play it. But before we do that, if you are new to the channel and you want to get better at Teamfight Tactics, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell to get notified about all my new videos. Alright, so onto the early game. On the first carousel, go for Spatula, Armor, then Glove, then Rod. In the early game, you have a few choices. You can either play for your strongest board if you get early upgrades at 2-1, or you could play for making a lot of interest and lose streaking. This composition is heavily reliant on gold, so this is the most consistent approach. Apart from buying units in the composition, Vanguards, Brawlers, and Space Pirates are great units to play up until you get your mech up and running. It is tricky trying to find Fizz in the middle part of the game. That's why you need a strong early game and strong units to play until you get that unit into your composition. This composition relies on perfect items, so definitely do not randomly build items unless they are Bramble Vest, Quicksilver, Demolitionist Spatula, Morellonomicon, or Seraphs in the early game. Moving on to the mid game, Mech Infiltrators make great use of the slow rolling strategy at level 6. Refer to the leveling guide by clicking on the top right corner if you do not know how to do this. So first, we'll want to level up to level 6 as safely as possible by using excess gold above 50 gold to reach level 6. This typically occurs at around 3-2 or 3-4. After that, we can start slow rolling. If you are low health at 4-1, you'll need to stabilize. Next, in stage 4, if you are low health at around 4-1, you'll need to stabilize. Roll until you either have 2-star upgrades or find Fizz with the rest of your mechs. However, always stay at least above 20 gold, preferably 30 gold when trying to stabilize. After you do that, save up back to 50 gold and start slow rolling again. If you have high health at 4-1 or if you already have a strong board, no need to roll, just keep slow rolling and trying to hit your units but staying above 50 gold. Now we reach the end game. If you are one off a 3-star upgrade for Kaisa, Rumble, Annie, or Shaco, roll your gold at around 5-1. If not, continue slow rolling. One thing to note is to know when to give up on 3-starring certain units. The most important units are the Mech and Kaisa. After getting a few upgrades, go for level 7 and add in Lux or Kale. If you do not have Demolitionist Spatula, Gangplank is strong as well, and at level 8, add in a champion that you did not have before out of Lux, Kale, or Gangplank. If you do have Kaisa 3-star, I recommend adding Kale as the first priority because she'll get the Valkyrie buff, and Kale is also just a solid unit on her own. Other than that, keep looking for 3-stars, avoid getting your Kaisa Zephyred, and try to play Shaco onto enemy carries. Unfortunately, there aren't really any other alternative builds for Mech Infiltrator at the moment. You can try playing only 2 Infiltrators and use Kale and Lux as your 5th and 6th slot instead of Shaco and Kha'Zix, but the original build is much more consistent and stronger at the moment. Maybe in the future someone discovers a new build and we could go ahead and try those as well. That's it for Mech Infiltrator. If you want to watch more in-depth gameplay, be sure to head on over to my stream at twitch.tv/bunnymuffinslol for direct feedback and full gameplay. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button and let me know what composition you'd want to see next. That's it for now. I'll see you guys next time. Let's roll down a tiny bit here. Alright, there's Jarvan. So this Jinx. There's Lux and Ashe. Perfect. And I guess I just put this on Ashe. Maybe she gets hooked and dies fast. Yeah, sure. Then I could do this. Is that even worth it? Maybe I want Shaco in, because if